Hello and good evening. How are you? I hope all is well with everyone. I just wanted to get on here. I have found out today about some lies about some social worker and, well, about Shanann not being allowed around her children. I wanted to let everyone know that anytime there is a murder or child abuse or a missing child, it is the officer that is investigating the missing or, the murdered to inform the Child Protection Agency to let them know, like what's going on, who the child is or who the children are, and like what's going on. So Cindy made it seem like Shanann was not allowed around her children, that there was in fact a case plan against her. Total bullshit lie, and I'll tell you why. Basically, what I just said. So, when the girls and Shanann came up missing, okay, at that point in time, they did not know if Shanann like took off, was angry and whatever. So, like, they did not have to report right then. So, like, they waited a day or two to see if she would come back or if they could locate her. So, at the end of the day, when they could not locate her, and they knew something was suspicious with Chris, and he finally, admitted to what he did, then they had to call up the Child Protection Agency and say, look, this is what we're dealing with. This is what's going on. We didn't tell you, about the missing on the 13th and the 14th because, like, she could have just, like, taken off and it would have been like a waste of time, whatever, whatever. So that's why it was not reported initially at the beginning. But when he started singing like a bird, saying, "Oh, well, she killed the children and I killed her," that's when they decided to say, "Hey, look, we've got to report this. They've got to do their investigation. They've got to investigate the families. We'll see, like, what happened. Was he always abusive? Like, what's amiss with Chris, And that's when they had spoken to Cindy, and Cindy was like, "Oh, well," she came on TV and said, "Well, that social worker said that that marriage should have ended a long time ago." Well, I'm sure it probably should have, considering the fact that, her psycho son murdered his children and his wife. But that's beside the point. She never said, like, the truth behind it. She never clarified or cleared up anything. She was like, letting everyone believe that there was a case plan, and it's called a protection plan for the child or children. Is you get like a white piece of paper, you pick out someone from the family or the mom or the dad or whoever to like supervise the situation, or you tell the parents, like if there's two parents involved in like medical neglect, for example. Say like your daughter has like, I don't know, fucking Crohn's disease or something, or cystic fibrosis, or MS, whatever. Just she's got this like disease and she has to be seen all the time or pretty regularly at, you know, the physician's office or the children's hospital, whatever. And if they're not taking this child, if their life is at risk, I might want to add that. I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. If like the child is at risk for like their disease and it's going to kill them and they're going to die, and it's a prolonged disease and it is eventually going to be the manner of their death, okay? So like, and you start, it's called medically neglecting the child. If you start like medically neglecting the child, then there's going to be a case plan for the parents. Then they got to sign off on whatever the conditions are that the social worker states has to be done on a regular basis or whatever, once a week, it doesn't matter. And the parents or parent or whoever initially has custody of the child. It's not always just parents. It's like whoever like has sole physical residential custody of the child or children, and they have to like basically sign an agreement, like a it's kind of like a contract. So, like, say me for example, okay, say like I have a child, right, and my daughter or my son has like a disease, and someone sees that my child is not doing so well and I'm not taking them to their regular visits with the hospital or the doctor, and they call in and they call the CD, oh, what's it called? The Cabinet for Family Health Family Services, CDHS, FS, whatever. It's basically the social service department. It's like intake. You call and you report, and say someone reported me saying like, "Hey, you know, Laura's daughter's like super sick. She's not taking her to the doctor appropriately." Well, then they're going to send out like a social worker, and the social worker is going to like ask me a bunch of questions and like find out what's wrong with my child. They'll initially make contact with her physician or the children's hospital that she's supposed to be seen at, and they will find out like when the last visit was and like how serious the condition is. And then they will come back to me and say, "Look, you're not taking proper care of this child. So, like, I'm going to give you one last chance, and you're going to take this child or this children to its regular doctor's appointments. And if you don't do that, at the end of the day, I'm going to remove your children. I'm going to place them in foster care or place them with a family member who might, have a great background, be able to take them, right?" And that's basically, what Cindy was trying to project onto Shanann, like saying that the social worker, and she never clarified like what the social worker was for. And she was like, "Oh, well, Shanann was not allowed around the children. She had to be supervised by Chris." Well, if that's true, where's the paperwork? And why did they choose Chris? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've been around enough social workers in my time and in that department alone for me to know, and I'm not a certified social worker, but I have been like involved in that building. I'm not going to tell you what department because it's no one's business, but I do know that they're not going to choose a husband to be the supervisor when he works Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. Because during that 12-hour frame, she's gonna be alone with the children, so they're not gonna choose Chris, right? Right. So, like, I don't know why she decided to lie. I don't even care why she decided to lie. I just wanna clear it up because a lot of people who don't, like, understand how the Child Protection Agency works or, like, their role and what they do to, quote, unquote, "protect the children," because I don't think they really protect the children per se. I mean, they do probably on some cases, but not all. So, like, for her to sit there and try to say like Shanann was unfit to be a mother or a parent, and the Cabinet for Family and Health Services came in due to reports that she wasn't doing her job as a parent and she had to be supervised, whether it was violence or whatever. They're not going to choose a man who is not there the majority of the time. They're going to want 24-hour supervised. That's it. I mean, there's no cutting corners. They're not going to be like, "Oh, well, you can supervise the children, Christopher, when you get home until you go to bed." No, that's not going. No, it does not work like that. And for Cindy to even, come up with such a story in her head, she obviously does not know how the social worker thing works. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that she would even conspire a lie like that. I mean, I don't understand. Well, I do understand why she did it. She did it because she hates her. Anything she can come up with to like make Shanann look bad or just tarnish her name and her reputation, she's going to take it and run with it. And, when the detectives called the social workers for them to investigate the family to like find out what happened and what went wrong here and why these little girls are dead, They did talk to Cindy, I'm certain they did, and that's okay, but she should have told the truth, she should not have lied about it. I mean, they talked to Frankie, they talked to Cindy, they talked to Ronnie, and I'm sure they talked to little Frankie. I'm sure they even talked to Jamie. I mean, and they got to like get a background and they got to write up a report to the DA's office and to the judge, stating their findings and like what started and led up to this point for these little girls to be dead. You know what I'm saying? I hope you understand. I mean, I'm trying to make it as clear and understandable. I'm trying to make it comprehend it as much as I possibly can. I mean, I don't know if I'm doing a very good job at it, but I mean, it's just like, say, now here's another example. If you're like beating your child now, okay, or your children, it's not just about like medical neglect. I mean, it's about any, like all of it. Like if you beat your child or your children, I'm just going to say child, but I want you to understand that I mean all children in the home, not just your kid, not just one kid. I mean all the children in your home. Like if you're starving them, you're not bathing them, you're not, uh, attending to them appropriately. Like you got a 3-year-old outside by itself, you're not paying attention. You're in the house doing dishes or talking on the phone, painting your fingernails, whatever. That would be like neglect in some way. That would not be medical neglect. That would be fail to supervise your child appropriately, right? Right. Or like say you're violent and you drink all the time or you smoke dope or you shoot dope, whatever, you're a dope addict, whatever, and you're not taking care of your child's needs and they step in and they'll say, hey, so like what's going on here? Like why is this kid 10 pounds underweight? Or where did all these bruises come from? I mean it's the whole shit and caboodle, you know what I mean? It's not just one thing, it's the entire situation that that child is in. And it's crazy to me that Cindy would even try to pass off that Chris was the supervisor. He cannot supervise when he's not there 12 hours of the day. They're not going to make him the supervisor. So, A, that's a lie. Number two, which clarifies that it's a lie, if it was true, Chris would had to have signed a piece of paper. It's a white piece of paper and it says at the very top, but it varies from state to state, in America, I'm sure. But I do know what I'm talking about, so please believe me. I mean, you can Google it. But it's a white piece of paper. It's like three pieces of paper attached to each one. And like, if you write on the front sheet, it bleeds through to the other two sheets, right? Like you got a white copy, a pink copy, and a yellow copy. So like the white copy you get to keep, the perpetrator, the family, whatever. The pink copy, I believe, goes with the social worker, and the last copy goes to like a case file in case it goes to court. That piece of paper, the yellow one, if you had to go to court, would be for the judge. Okay, so like you have to sign off on this piece of paper. Whatever the social worker says, you have to do. I don't care if she says you got to teach your child to tie its shoes 10 times out of each day. You have to take 10 times out of each day and teach your child how to tie its shoes. And if she comes in and sits that child down and says, hey, did your mommy teach you to tie your shoes 10 times a day? And that child says, no, she only taught me three. You know what's going to happen? Well, since you signed off on that, they're going to remove your child from your home. I mean, that's a shitty example, but that's basically the gist of it. If you say that you're going to do whatever the social worker says you're going to do and you sign off on it, you have to follow it to a T. You have to follow it all the way until they close the case and they disregard it. I mean, I don't care if you got, and usually case plans are anywhere from 6 months to a year. So, like, in severe cases, it'd probably be a year. But, like, if you know, I don't know, just say like you don't have transportation right now, so you miss three appointments, then like they're going to say, well, we're going to give you 6 months to get a car, and this is what you got to do. And if you do it, then we're not going to remove your child. I mean, that's it. So for her to even sit there and act like Chris was a supervisor, for one, is just hilarious. And for two, when he was asked about it, he's been asked about it like 3 or 4 times, and he said the same thing each time, "I don't know what you're talking about. If there was a social worker that came into the home, I'm sure I would have known about it. Or if I had to supervise my kids and she wasn't allowed around the children, I would have known it." And he's absolutely right. He would have known about it because he's part of the household, right? So, like, I don't care who is in your home. If they live with you, they become part of the case. I mean, that's just it. So, like, for Cindy to sit there and try to pose that whole situation where they went and talked to her about her son and like her granddaughters and like, why did this happen? Does she think? Is just sickening. And number 2, they don't only just like they didn't know whenever there's a case like this, when the children are missing or they've been murdered, they don't only just go there to like find closure or find answers to make their initial report, to return to the DA or the judge. What they do is they, if you're in great distraught, and I'm sure the Rusek family were, and I'm almost certain they're still in therapy today, but and understandably why, but like they don't just like go in to try to take your children away or, nothing like that. I mean, they do offer other services to like try to help you. And I'm almost certain that they, tried to offer Cindy and Ronnie some therapy for the tragedy that happened because they do have it's called like victim rights advocacy, whatever. So like that's another reason like why they talked to Cindy and Ronnie in the first place. It had absolutely nothing to do with a case plan report against Shanann. Had to do with Chris killing the girls and Shanann. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less. They just went and talked to them to find out, like, why did we get here? Did you ever have any signs he was going to do that? Like, were there any warning signs? And then, hey, would you like some therapy? We can get you in contact with da 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 da. And, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So for her to sit there and pretend like Shanann had an open, active case against her and lie and be deceitful about it is disgusting. But it's for her own self satisfaction that she could do that. She knew if she didn't clarify during that report, during that little interview, if she didn't go on there and say like the truth, which was, oh, well, since the children were murdered, the police people automatically like send them out to talk because it's involving children. See, that's why they're there. So they could write up a report that this child is gone, it's deceased, and this is what happened to it, and this is who done it, and this is where it was found, blah blah. And then, that's the end of that. So like Cindy's just absolutely disgusting to sit there and try to pose that off as something that it wasn't. I also wanted to talk about this other thing I found here. I have a terrible memory because I got like a very hectic life. Okay, so like, bear with me, please. Um, I wanted to let you know that I did find out some things and I wrote it down. So like, I was listening to oh, I don't remember who was it. I can't remember. I want to give them credit for the video, but I can't do that because I can't remember. My brain is mush right now. I'm so tired. I worked for 4 days straight, 4 16-hour shifts. I am beat. I think I'm running on like 10 hours of sleep in 4 days, so please bear with me. Okay, okay. I wrote it down too. There someone said like Chris had found out that he was having a baby boy, right? And he didn't want the child, right? And then on like the Friday that she left to go to Arizona, he was like talking to her more and being all nice to her, and he wanted the baby. He said he was coming around, he was becoming okay with her being pregnant because it was a boy. and he was okay with it Friday before she left. So, like, what happened on Saturday at the Lazy Dog for him to change his mind again? Nicole Kessinger. That's what happened. I mean, that's the truth of it right there. I got to thinking today, like, if he was okay with it on Friday and was like, I read some text messages too in the Discovery, and I remember reading them now that I watched that video, and like, I'm like, wait a minute. If he was okay with it on Friday and he was like telling her, love you too, boo, whatever, like, what the fuck? What the hell? What happened between Friday when she jumped on the plane to fucking Saturday when he was with Nicole to fucking the day he killed him? Like, what the hell happened at Lazy Dog? Who the hell was there at Lazy Dog and what did they tell him? I am just like, oh, that blows my mind. How can he be okay with it on Friday and then Saturday go get fucked by his mistress and have some fish and a beer and then be like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I don't think I want the son now. I'm gonna kill her. What the hell? Just crazy, just crazy, 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 crazy. I just, give me a moment. I'm reading. And sometimes, I can't read my own writing. Isn't that sad? I mean, I wrote down some pretty good notes. It's just like, it's, well, that was pretty much the gist of it, I reckon. It was just like to let you know, it was just basically self satisfaction for Cindy to sit there and act like, oh, Shanann was a bad mom. See, I told you, I told you. She even had a case against her. She wasn't even allowed around the children. Chris had a supervisor. Bitch, you're lying. Shut up. Cindy, you know what? I hope you hear this because it's, I think you need to hear it. You need to sit down and really put your thinking cap on. And you need to sit and listen to the words that come out of your mouth. And you really need to think about your nasty behavior toward a dead lady. I mean, it's all fine and dandy when she's alive, you can be evil to her. At least she can defend herself against you. But right now, for the last 5 years, well, I reckon it's going to be 5 years, right? Well, was it in October or something? No, August. Sorry. But like 5 years ago, she could defend herself, but she can't defend herself against you now. So, like, if, if you're going to hate anyone, Cindy, why don't you hate your son? I mean, not like hate him so bad to where, like, you don't claim him as your son, but like, why don't you have like any animosity against him at all for like taking the lives of your granddaughters? I mean, I know you got your favorites, Jamie's kids. We all know that. Chris told us. He told us like in a live, I believe in May, maybe early April. I believe it was in April, actually, now that I think about it. It was like around Easter. He had made it very abundantly clear on a live with Shanann that like you and his dad, Ronnie, had your favorite grandchildren, and they definitely were not Cece and Bella. They were your daughter's children. And he said it was because, how did he say it? The relationship she has with my sister makes my sister's kids come first. Mine and Shanann's come last. That's a bold and powerful statement. I mean, if you're showing that hard, that huge, big amount of favoritism toward your grandchildren, maybe you need to sit down and like pray for your soul because, like, that's just evil. I don't believe I could ever love one child more than I can love another child. or love one of my children's babies more than I love my other child's babies. I don't think I could do that. If I can't love them all equally, that makes me a piece of shit. And if I play favorites, that makes me an even bigger piece of shit. Because you know what happens? You start to play favoritism for so long that the child, well, all the children, they grow up and they realize that like they're not the favorite, and you make them feel like shit. So, Cindy, for you to make your granddaughters last in your life, that's just sad, man. I mean, who does that? Evil people do that. Like, I know you're close with your daughter, and that's great. But, like, just because you're so close with your daughter and you're close with your daughter's children, there's no reason you should make Bella and Celeste your last priority. I mean, for Chris to sit there and say that, that's a powerful statement. So it must have been true. I don't see Chris getting on a live with Shanann making up a lie about you, and he killed him. So you know it's got to be true. His exact words were, Jamie's kids are the favorite because of Mom's relationship with Jamie. So mine and Shanann's kids are put last. And I'm almost certain he said it around Easter, the year before he killed him. So, like, it was in the same year. It was 2018, but like, it was within that year, that Easter that year, right before he killed him. So, like, I know that you have in some way made Chris feel like his daughters were like last in your book. And maybe that's why it was so easy for him to take them out, you know? If they were nothing to his parents, then why should they be anything to him? Well, you really got to think about things like that, you know? I just don't see how a person can love this group of grandchildren because of the mom and the dad, but leave out this group of grandchildren because of the mom and the dad. I don't get it. If you can't love all of your grandchildren and all of your children equally, then piss off. Don't have anything to do with any of them. It's not fair for Bella and Celeste. Now, God rest their souls, but imagine if they would be here right now and they would be much older, right? They'd be like what, 9, 10, 8, 5, something like that, right? So like imagine Bella being at your house, and seeing how different you treat her and her sister and her brother versus how you treat Jamie's kids. It'd be sad, right? Absolutely. It would be sad. But that's all I wanted to say. It's just like you lied about the social worker and you made it seem like Shanann had an active live case against her before she passed away, before she was brutally murdered by your son. And it's a shame that you did that. And anyone out there who believed her, please, please take a moment and understand that it is a bold faced lie on Cindy Watts' part. Shanann never had a report made against her for any type of child abuse, child endangerment, child neglect. None of that is all a lie. That she was a pretty damn good mom. And you know what else? I've heard people say, like, she calls her kids monsters, little monsters. Oh, they're being wild. But yet they're sitting still. Well, you don't know how that child was acting before she jumped on that line. They might have been acting wild before she jumped on the line. That doesn't mean just because they're not acting wild right now while you're watching that they were not acting wild before she hit record. So, like, quit being so judgmental toward a dead woman. It's people like you that sit there and you make fun of dead people and you fucking talk bad about them and you make up lies about them just to get what? A subscriber? Piss on that. You attract more flies with honey than you do fucking vinegar, right? People like nice. They don't like evil. And if you like evil, just go slit your wrist because you're not worth shit. I mean, damn it, man. The lady is dead. She can't defend herself. You got people like Cindy Watts making up lies about social workers and yada yada. It's like, hold on, back up. Wait a minute. I know a lot about social work. I work in the building. I know. I know what goes on. I know what's said. I hear a lot. I see a lot. I read a lot. So, like, Shanann Watts never had an open, active case at any point, at any time during these child's lives. From the time that they were born until the time that her disgusting baby killing husband took them out, she never had a case against her. The social worker spoke to Cindy due to the murders. It had absolutely nothing to do with Shanann's parenting, and they damn sure never had a case against her where she had to be supervised with her own daughters. If she had understand this, they would not have picked a man, her husband, to supervise her with those girls when he worked Monday through Friday, 12-hour shifts. They just would not do that. If they wanted her to be supervised, it would be from daylight to daylight, around the clock. They're not going to pick and choose when Chris gets off work. Oh, you can watch Savannah around the girls when you get off work until you go to bed and go to work the next morning. It does not work that way. They would have had to sign a case plan, a protection plan. Chris would have known about it, and they damn sure would not have chosen Chris to supervise when he would never be there during the day, anyway, all week, all year. It's just not going to happen. They would have chosen a different family member to supervise her if she was violent, unstable, or medically neglecting them, or just neglecting them, their physical needs, not feeding them, not bathing them, or if she was beating them, whatever. They would not have chosen Chris. Not because he's a bad father, not because he can't do it, but because he's not available to do it. He would have had to have been available around the clock. So Cindy lied. That social worker never put a case against Shanann. The social worker was there to talk to Cindy about how Chris grew up and why they are there today. Like, why are we here? Why are these children gone? Why did he kill them? Like, give me some background, right? And then they type up a report. They go talk to the Rusek family the same way, and they offer the same services. Well, do you need therapy? We can put you in contact with yada yada, and you could talk to them about your feelings, about the tragedy, whatever. It will help you. They're not just there to take away your children or to put case plans against you. They're also there to help they're like the victim advocacy, I mean, they try to help in murders like this. That's why they were there. They were not there to do anything to do with Shanann. And for Cindy to put it out there like it were, shame on her. She did that to do self-satisfaction. It's like another shot to the grave in Shanann's coffin is all that was. Oh, and yada yada. It's like, maybe the marriage, maybe she did say that. I'm sure they probably did, considering the outcome. I mean, hell, even I said Shanann should have left that psycho years ago. But it is what it is, you know? She lied, and that's that. There's no proof at all. I've looked. I've looked all over. I've contacted people. I've spoken to people. Or I know people that know people, and we've all made calls. There was never a report against Shanann Catherine Watts in Frederick, Colorado, or in North Carolina that pertained to her being abusive or anything with those children. Matter of fact, there's no case of her at all at either state. So for Cindy to sit there and lie, do your own research, please. People will talk to you. If you know someone that knows someone, you can always find out things. And Google search. If you got a credit card, you can find out a whole lot more. And I promise you with every beat of my heart, there was never a bad case with Shanann and her children. It was a lie. So please don't believe it. I promise you. If you believe anything I've ever told you on this channel, please believe that Shanann never ever had a report against her for any type of child abuse, child endangerment, or anything ever. And I cannot believe that people always spotty clean. I mean, you couldn't find a spot on them. They're always eating a pro bar or sucking down a juice or chicken nugget. They're always eating or they're playing and dancing. There's those little girls in those dresses dancing around the living room, laughing and giggling and having fun with their mum. Do they look at all abused or neglected to you? Does Shanann look crazy like she's gonna go beat 'em up for dancing and singing and being loud in the house? No, she's sitting there recording them, laughing at them, encouraging them to dance and have fun with each other. So, like, if you did believe it, why? She was online so much. We were practically watching the girls grow up before our very eyes live. So I don't get like why you would even fathom that idea. Because Cindy Watts said it. She's a freaking psycho. And when someone hates someone or dislikes someone, they always try to do a smear campaign. Like they always try to put someone down and have people join in on the reindeer games. And it's sad because like she's dead now. So like, why do that? Why do that to a dead person? That would be like somebody doing to somebody in your family. Take one person you absolutely love and adore in your family and imagine them laying in the ground. And then imagine this YouTube and people talking about that person every single day. Whether it be good or bad, it doesn't matter. But imagine the bad. And imagine it coming from someone who, like, don't even like themselves. You see the sour look on that woman's face. I mean, it looks like she walks around sucking on a fucking lemon drop. I swear to God. You ever had a lemon drop? They're like the most sourest. They make your fucking ears ring. I swear to God, they're so freaking sour. And she just walks around like she's the most unhappy, most miserable old lady I've ever seen. She should like go buy some cats. Maybe they will make her happy because clearly Ronnie's not making her happy. I mean, I don't get it. And when you're that hateful and you're that mean all the time, it's like, oh my God, let's try to make this creature happy, you know? You gotta find some type of happiness in life, man. You can't just like walk around like that forever. And if you're that unhappy in your marriage, fucking leave. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, well, I guess since I've got two grown children with this cokehead motherfucker, I'm gonna stay here. No, bitch, just because you're 60 don't mean you can't pack your shit and leave and go find you some happiness. I mean, hot damn. If you're that unhappy, Cindy, find you happiness, girl, and lay off the dead woman. It's time. It is time to let Shanann Catherine Rusick rest. And it's time to let Frankie and Frank and Sandy grieve and be left alone. That's it. Get the fuck off Dave's page, Ronnie and Cindy, and let it be. And when you do find out why your son did what he did, and you do come to terms with what he did, write you a frickin' book. Don't get online. Don't talk to anyone about it. Write a book and find yourself some closure and some peace. Find peace with it. And if you pray, I promise you this is so true. If you let it go and let God, like peace will come over you. I don't know how it happens. I guess because it's God. But like you can feel the peace come through your soul. So you need to do that and let that woman rest. I know you hated her. I don't know why. I think you're jealous of her. I think you got mad because, like, Chris didn't stay home and suck on your tit all day, and he moved like 10 states away, and you're like so freaking pissed, and you hated her for it. But why? Why not be happy for your son that he found someone who loved him enough to have his children and like love them too, and like never hit him or never cheat on him. Or she did belittle him sometimes, I guess she admitted that, but like hell, I've done that with my husband. We're still together happy, I don't think he'd fucking kill me for it. But when you realize, and you change it. She just realized it too late. I mean, there at the end, before he killed her, she realized, hey, maybe I did belittle him. Maybe I didn't think about how I'm making him feel as a man, telling him to go find his ball sack. I mean, she realized, and she was going to make it right. She was going to change, and she was going to get better. He just didn't give her a chance to. He fucking murdered her. And you, Cindy, you should just like forgive and forget. You gotta forgive Shanann for whatever. Because if you can't forgive her, then how do you expect God to ever forgive you? And I'm sure you've got things under the fucking rug you need forgiveness for. I guarantee it. I mean, I'd say you've done quite some horrible, vindictive, evil, backstabbing things in your time. Just by the look on your face and by your demeanor, you're no fucking saint, Cindy. So if you want God to forgive you, you've got to forgive Shanann. I don't know what she did to you. It may have been something horrible. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't pretend I was a fly on the wall and I was there. I can only go by what I've read and what I've seen. And I'm sorry. I have looked. I don't see anything where you stated I did not try to poison my granddaughter with tree nuts because I didn't think it was that serious. Even your son said that you told him it's not that serious. Nothing a little chamomile lotion won't take care of. How do you know? I mean, you're living old school there. A little bit of Benadryl, really? When her whole back swells up with whelps, you're gonna give us a Benadryl, really? When she needs an EpiPen? Come on, Cindy, you gotta be smarter than that. I mean, whatever Shanann did, it could not have been that bad. I mean, it's not like she killed your son, or killed one of your granddaughters. Your son did that. You need to forgive her and let her rest in peace. And you need to downgrading her. It just makes you look like a fucking bitter psycho who can't let go of shit. I bet you hold on to shit from 1985, man. You probably still hate girls from your school that picked on you, I bet. Well, that's the type you seem to be. As far as your son, you looked at him and told him in the courtroom, you're capable of forgiveness. I see that. Because you looked at him and you said, son, we forgive you. We don't care what you did. Cindy, you don't care what he did? Are you fucking mad, man? How can you not care? Like, that baffles me to this day. I'll never forget that. I will never wrap my head around that you don't care that he killed your granddaughters and your daughter-in-law and your unborn grandson. You don't care what he did. I will never let you live that down because I can't understand it. If someone killed my daughter, if my son, like, killed my daughter-in-law and my granddaughters, or even whatever I've got, there's no freaking way I can look at my son and say, well, I guess I forgive you, son. Hell no. I love my son dearly, like he's my only son too. He's my baby, my only son. And like I would give my soul away right now for my son. Like I would give him every drop of blood I have in my body, give him my lungs, my heart, my kidneys, whatever he needed. I don't care. If it means he will live, then that's fine by me. Take me out. But I tell you what, I don't say that I would hate him, but I don't think I could just like look back at him and say, well, I forgive you for being a murderer. I think I'd have to be like, I need some time to like process what just went down, and like I need some time to like recover a little bit mentally, physically, and emotionally because I think I'm about ready to puke. Like, why did you not like throw up? Like, how are your nerves like so calm? I don't get it. I could not have been so well kept together the way you were. I mean, yeah, you shed some tears because you saw him, whatever, but like, you just don't care. As long as you have Jamie and her kids and you have Chris, like, screw everyone else. You don't care. And you have no empathy to the Rusek family. Especially, and you can't say that you do, especially when you get on here and you're like, Dave, they make me sick. All of them make me sick. Well, what about you? Don't you think like you and your son and like your husband don't make the Rusek family sick? But you don't hear them on here like throwing shade, do you? Nope. They're quiet as fucking, I don't know, a mole in the ground. They're quiet. You don't hear nothing from them. I mean, here and there you might see Frankie go to Colorado and cry tears, asking people to like quit threatening his family and like quit talking about his daughter and like quit making up lies. I get that. Like I can agree with Frankie on that. But like you don't hear him on here saying like, well, Chris is a murderer, even though he knows it, you know. But he's not like on here downgrading you or your daughter or anyone. They're quiet. You never hear about the Rusek family on YouTube. But yet everyone wants to get like so pissy mad that they got like a GoFundMe. And I think it's more jealousy than anything. Like you're mad because they're asking for some money to get a lawyer so they could shut Dave up, right? Why be mad over that? I don't get it. What's the point of like being mad about that? It's none of your business what they do. They're not meddling in your business. I just don't get it. You motherfuckers are fucking crazy. I swear to God, you motherfuckers need therapy, like all of yous. I try to like wrap my head around it and try to make sense of it all, and I just can't. I can't. I mean, it's just like one of those things. Is like like a you got like a 20,000 piece puzzle, right? And you got like 10,000 pieces fucking missing. I mean, I just can't do it. I cannot fucking do it. I don't see how like everyone talks about it day after day after day after day after day for like 5 years straight. Like this is my first time, okay? And the only reason I do it, like I'm not asking anyone for like super chat. I don't even know what that is really. I don't even know how to like put pictures on here or put music on here. Hell, I can't even get my damn camera to work. I don't even know like where that button's at. I'm lucky I make it this far. But point being is like I don't talk about this all the time. I like point out obvious things that I find that are lies, like the social worker thing that like really bothered me. And I wanted to like put it out here and say, hey, look, what you were told about the social worker and Shanann by Cindy is a complete fucking lie. So let me clear that up just a smidgen. I mean, that's it. Like, I won't say anything else about this case because I'm not really like that invested in it. I don't think I ever have been really. I think I read it maybe once and then I skimmed over it again like once. And then, like, if I watch Armchair Detective, I'll listen to what all he has to say. And I'll try to like look in the background like he tells me to. Like, do you see her standing there with the ponytail? And I'm like, well, not really, but if you point it out one more time, maybe. And it's like, I don't know. It's like a trick of the mind. I don't know what the fuck I see. Or if I, I tried to listen to Dave like a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you what happened with that. Dave was like so against the Rusek family, right? He absolutely fucking hated Chris. Like he was Chris's biggest hater. I mean, ever. He despised him. He would get on there and he would be like, just talking shit really about Chris, and he would bring bring up the not the Rusev, but the Watts family, and he would like downgrade the Watts family, and he would say things like, "Well, I bet you Cindy like paid someone and it fucking went wrong, and like the girls were collateral damage. They weren't supposed to fucking die." But since they were paid already and the girls seen too much, they said, "Chris, we have to kill your daughters too." Like, he said that, right? And then he was like, "Well, I bet you Cindy was there. I bet you she caught a plane and was there." Like, he was so against them in the beginning. He's like two-faced, okay? I'm getting there. Just give me a minute. And he was like, "Oh, well, I bet you fucking Cindy and Ronnie did this. They wanted insurance money because 'cause they're poor, whatever." And then, like, the Rusek family, he was like, "I feel so sorry for you. I don't understand, like, why everyone's picking on you and why Alan Armchair Detective, like, won't leave it alone, blah, blah, blah." And then he, like, tried to get and the Ruseks have told us too, okay? Like, he reached out to them through, like, their Facebook, right? And they were like, "We don't wanna talk to you. Fucking piss off." And he got so freaking mad, right? So he like blocked him on Facebook, then he jumped back on his channel, and then he started like hating on the Rusek family. And then he was like, "Oh well, the Watts family are the real fucking victims here, not them slousy Rusek family." And then like he just switched it, right? It was just crazy. And then he went back and he talked to the Watts family. He was like, "Won't you guys come on my live, whatever?" They were like, "Sure, we'll do that, as long as we can talk shit about Shanann." "Oh, well, hell yeah, you could do that." Well, that's where it all started. So he went back to his old videos from like 2 years ago and he deleted like all the bad stuff he said about the Watts family, right? And then he started like talking about the Rusek family. And it's like, wait a minute, you said the same exact shit 2 years ago about the fucking the Rusek family. So like, or the Watts family. So like, why are you saying like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So anyway, I just want to put that out there, and it's just like they're all fucking crazy. They've all gone mad. This case has drove, half of the YouTube people fucking mad because they all want to why. You're not gonna get it. We're never going to know why he did it, and he's never gonna come out and say, "Yeah, Nicole Kessinger helped me," or "Yeah, she planned it." He's never gonna tell the why, and that's it. And I understand, like, why you guys are hooked on it so badly because, like, you need that type of closure to go with the story, and you don't have it. But no one does, not even her family. So, like, if her family doesn't get closure from Chris, what makes you think, you can? You can't. So, like, let it go and just, like, move on. And all the horrible things that people are saying about Shanann, please just stop it. I didn't know her personally. I don't know her, but like, I don't know any of them really. But I wouldn't sit and talk about a dead person at all. It's just disgusting to be that way. So, like, can we try to focus on like the missing children of the world? I mean, I would really like to do that. I mean, it aggravates me every single day that I see a little girl out playing or whatever, walking with her mom, or even at the grocery store, in a stroller, in a cart, whatever. Like, I just wonder, where is Summer Wells? Where is she? What happened to her? Now, that is a true mystery. What happened to that little girl? I wish we could find her. I do. I wish we could find all the children, but we can't, can we? And we're like stuck in this never ending cycle of like never knowing. And that hurts. It really does. And I cannot imagine what the families go through. Like, oh my God, put yourself in their shoes and just think about it for a moment. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I would do. I just don't know. I would probably like go kill myself, honestly. If it's been like 3 years and I've not found my child yet, I don't even want to live at that point, you know? I mean, I feel so terrible for all the families, and it's so sad because, like, anything I heard, after anything after like 48 hours, it's a wash, They're gone. They're gone, gone. They're like never coming back. But like Summer was like in the country. She was not even in town, and it's like, hold on a minute. The little girl is like surrounded by woods and fucking roads and hills. Like she lives out in the holler. Like, what the hell? Like, who the hell went out all the way out there and took her? I don't see it. I don't see an abduction. I see her roaming off and something terrible happened by the natures of the world. Tell me what you think. Do you even know about the Summer Wells case? I hope you do. If you do, I would love to hear your feedback on it, get your feedback. Like, what do you think happened? I don't believe I'm going to squash this right here. So if you're going to come in here and type up or say, you think she was sold, I don't want to hear that. That's not true. I think her mother and her grandmother kind of forgot and got a little carefree and let her go outside to play, and she wandered off a little too far, and Mother Nature took over from that. I truly believe that. And I don't believe we're going to ever find out. And if we were to find out, I don't think it's going to be any more than a bone here or there, or that's about it. I don't think there's going to be no real, like, whole skeleton left. I think it's going to be scattered throughout the hollow. I don't think we'll ever know the cause of death, and I think it's horrible. I just wish we could find her. Even if we just found, like, a glimpse of death, because we know she's probably not alive, right? We can't lose hope, but, like, it's been, like, 2 years. Come on, let's be realistic here. As horrible as it is, let's be realistic here. It's been, like, 2 years, right? So, the chances of her being found alive are, like, none. It's not gonna happen. And I hate to say that, but it's the absolute truth. I mean, it is the truth. If by a miracle she could be found alive, I don't think it's gonna happen though. I mean, it would have to be a miracle of like all miracles to find that little girl alive. I truly believe that the boys, her brothers, were playing in their rooms and they paid her no mind. And I believe that her mother and her grandmother paid her no mind. Her daddy was at work and she went off to play and she never came back. Why they think she was abducted, I think that's just their way of dealing with it. I think they would rather believe that she was abducted and they might find her one day rather than face the obvious, Mother Nature. Because I'm going to tell you, Mother Nature's a beast. Mother Nature doesn't care how old you are, what race you are, what you look like, who you come from. It just does not care. It's about life and death. It doesn't care. And I believe they'd rather believe that she was taken and being held in a basement, I believe her daddy said, rather than like fell off a ravine and the wolves ate her or a bear ate her. And I understand. Or fallen into a well and drowned. I understand, but it's just the never knowing part. Never gonna know, I don't believe. But there's other children out there that I believe we can find if we just like put some effort behind it. And I mean like real effort, like really work together and look for children the lost children. We can might bring some home, you know? I don't know, that's just my thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts about Summer, though. But please don't come in here and say that her mom and dad sold her, because I don't believe that and I don't want to hear it. That's not even an option for me to even hear, really. Otherwise, I hope you guys have had a great week and a even happier weekend. And I will talk to you guys if I find out anything else, which I doubt I do, but if I do, I will be sure to come and report to you first thing and let you know. Other than that, I will talk to you guys whenever I'm available, whenever I can, and thank you for supporting me. And don't forget, go over to Michelle Walks and Michelle After Dark. Subscribe, listen, fall in love with her as I did. Not romantically, but you know, go over to AD Armchair Detective. He's got a blue channel and a red channel. Subscribe, fall in love with his content like I did. Um, Zav Girl, she's awesome. Go over there, subscribe, and let's all just like support each other and let's like not try to spread hate. Cindy Watts. Let's not be a Cindy Watts, okay? Let's be a Shanann, a shining light. All right. Have a good evening. Bye bye.